If you still love Cherokee Shuffle, then you're in luck. Here it is in F. Well, there you go, that was Cherokee Shuffle in F. It is a key that does get used in bluegrass on guitar occasionally, not that often, but it does happen, so worth having a look at. It's actually quite nice to play, and if you're used to playing out of C shapes, then you'll find that a lot of it is transferable across the strings. You can also, of course, play any of your G tunes by sticking a capo on the 2nd fret or A tunes on the 4th fret. So if you fancy sort of testing yourself out in a situation with other people, then it's quite a nice key that you can integrate into that sort of situation. All right, let's look at the chords then. They're not too awful in F. So you've got F, B flat, C, D minor. So the F, your full F chord, of course, would be that one. My preference is to do the partial one. I actually prefer the sound of that as your root 5 kind of bass line, having the higher root. C, no problems there. D minor, no problems there. B flat. That's going to be the one that's going to, if any of them are going to hurt your hand, it's going to be that one. It's always a difficult chord to play whenever you've got to bar on the 1st fret. That means you're going to have bigger stretches, more effort involved in pressing down on that 1st fret usually. And then that getting all those 3 fingers together up next to the fret is never the most comfortable. So that's the one where you're going to want to maybe start looking at alternatives. Now the first option, of course, would be to do similar to that partial F chord. So you're not worrying about the lower 2 strings here, just don't hit them. And then you don't have to do the bar, you can just use that finger on that 1st fret just like that. Another one, if you want a bit more low end in there, you're not going to get that 1/5 bass line anymore, and it's not the most wonderful sounding chord because there's a little bit too much D in there. But it works, especially if you're in a setting where there are other people playing and it's not going to be sticking out on its own so much. So you can get that one there. So 1st finger there on that B flat on the 6th fret of the E string. Your 5th string A will be muted by just a fleshy bit of that 1st finger. Open D, 7th fret on the G string to get another D, 6th fret F on the B string, and then that 1st finger is also muting your top E string. So there's a little bit more ring to that. And you just need to practice moving between those in as smooth a way as possible. It's potentially actually a smoother change than that because there's quite a lot of sort of switching around of fingers involved in going from there to there. So there are some options to look at with that anyway. See how you get on. as we're in the key of F, we're going to be using the F major scale. If you're not familiar with it, it's F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and then carrying on F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. And you can carry on from there, of course. But so we've actually got most of the open strings going to be okay here, not the open B. It feels fairly similar to play out of, as maybe like C is a fairly similar feeling key in terms of where your fingers sit, just move across. You're just going to watch out for that open B, and there's a little bit more in terms of stretching back to that first fret, of course. But it's quite useful to get yourself used to playing out of that F chord position, the same as you might well be used to playing out of a C chord. So you're probably used to playing there with, for example, leaving that first finger down. And you can get those kind of cross-picking-y type things in there, and leave things ringing on a little bit. You're going to want to do the same thing with F. It's a little trickier because you've got to keep a partial bar down on those top two strings. But otherwise, like going to the D minor, for example, is quite nice in there. Otherwise it's going to feel quite similar to playing in C. So I'm a big advocate for noodling to get used to playing in a key. Just have a little play around. Seeing what melodies you can find that fit under your fingers nicely when you're playing just out of that F chord shape. So we'll have a look at learning the melody now. If you'd prefer to have tabs in front of you when you're learning tunes, then they are available on my Patreon page, along with loads of other tabs and videos and lessons and things like that. Alternatively, you can just follow along with the video. So let's start learning this melody then. So we're starting with the A part, and we're going to start here. So if you watched the sort of performance section of this video of me playing it, you may have noticed that I'm using two different fingerings, the first time round and the second time round. Slightly mad, it might make more sense to just stick to one, but for the sake of getting used to two different fingerings, I thought it was quite fun to try and do it that way. So this first one, this is much more playing out of that F chord shape. It leaves the option, if you were to expand on this and come up with some more F versions, then you might want to have those top notes just to hand there. So you're going to be playing out of that shape, and I am kind of keeping those notes down even though I'm not using them. The other one was so playing out of effectively an E chord moved up. The reason for needing to do that one is when you come to the end of this first time round, that A part, you'll find yourself in a position where you've either got to jump a finger across to get it back into playing it, which never sounds as smooth as you want it to, or you've got to use a different fingering. So for my satisfaction, I preferred using that different fingering. But then you've got to come out of it again later on. So I'll show you anyway, but you've got down, up, down, hammer, down, up, down, down, up, hammer, up, down, up, down. Next bit, down, up, hammer, up, down, up, hammer, up, down, down, hammer, down, up, down, down. So you've got that strum in there. If you were using the other fingering, this is where you change back into your F chord fingering there. So by hammering on with your second finger rather than first, that gets you back into that F chord shape, which you need to be in to then do that D minor kind of section. Then we're going to go, so slide, lots of stretching back in this arrangement. So down, slide, down, up, hammer, up, down, down, hammer, down. There's a pull off there with the hammer on it. A triplet with the hammer on it and pull off. Keeping that F-ness down at the top there, and then down, hammer, down, up, pull off, up, down with the hammer on, up, down. And you see what I mean? So I'm coming in there, bringing that second finger in rather than cutting that note short and moving it across. Going into the B part though, I've done a slightly different ending here. Just going up to there, down, 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 pull off, and then, so stretching again there. You could do, it's up to you. It's probably a little bit easier actually, but try both ways. So down, pull off, down, up, hammer, up, down, down, hammer, down. And then there's that same hammer on, pull off on the triplet there. Down, up, so down, down, up, and then so you've got that same down, up, this time shifting up, down, up, and then down with a slide there, down, up, down, up, down, up. Fingering wise, you can use that first, third and fourth finger, or it's up to you. Nice little exercise to practice both. Next bit, again fingering options here. Or, so that's the same you've already had. Down, hammer, up, down, down, hammer, down, down, hammer on, pull off on that triplet, down, up, and then so down, hammer, down, up, pull off, up, down, hammer on, pull off on that triplet, down, strum, down, up, and then hammering on into the next bit. So you got that up on the E, up, hammer, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down. Strumming those top two, barred at the first fret with that F bit there. So down, 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 up, down, pull off, and then you're going into the repeat. That's it. Now that we've learned that melody and had a chance to get it under your fingers, let's try playing it through slowly together. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Well, thanks for watching again. I hope you've enjoyed learning that one in F. Do keep following this series. I'll be back with more soon.